Welcome to a 24-hour delay on Simon's Pro Wrestling Podcast. First question we have to answer is about my voice. I'll probably come back to this numerous times because, if you join the live stream late, you won't know. Basically, I had a match at IPW UK last night against Rob Lynch, who's their champion. There was just a lot of screaming going on. There was a lot of shouting. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of emotion. I think I gave a little bit too much, but that's okay. That's what we do for the business. I'm only joking. Thank you very much for joining me live here on YouTube, where we are going to chat some crazy WWE rumors. Before we do that, of course, at Simon316 on Instagram, on Twitter. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. All this is in the description below if you want to do some clicking. That's how you can spot everything that goes into that. Patreon comes back out to my own personal projects, such as this. And if you want to ask a question, if you want to make a comment, if you want to call me a bald asshole, if you want to say anything you want and you're live in the YouTube chat right now, you know what super chat is by this point. There's no need for me to explain it. Drop me a super chat. And we can talk about anything that that you want to talk about. You control the show. That's the main thing. So for starters, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Here we are live on YouTube in 2019. I'm wearing a vest because it's very, very hot today. Just did a video about Bray Wyatt on What Culture Wrestling. And look, if you haven't subscribed to What Culture Wrestling, go and do that as well. But halfway through, I was like, I got to change. I am warm. Sometimes you sit under these studio lights and people don't even worry about it. But yeah, the Wrestling Observer newsletter obviously has came out around about the last 24 hours or so, or whatever it was. And the story that took me by surprise, maybe surprisingly, for many reasons, is that Enzo and Cass are not only coming back to WWE, I guess I should have done this the other way around, but maybe coming back to NXT. Meltzer wrote, basically, we don't know if they've accepted, but Cass really hasn't done much in the indie scene and has also made it clear he wants to get back. Enzo, who really knows, he says a lot of things, but his rap career isn't really going anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I read it straight from whatculture.com. I'll do that because it's pimp out What Culture as always. In quite astonishing news reported in this week's WON, per Dave Meltzer, WWE has contacted Enzo and Cass ahead of a rumored return to the NXT brand. And not just that, the interest is purportedly strong enough that Triple H or perhaps somebody else sees them as top stars. Now, that's crazy, right? To me, that's absolutely crazy. Like, if you know anything about the Enzo and Cass story when they left WWE a year or year and a half, however long ago, I mean, both of them had quite terrible exits from the WWE, and maybe that's one reason we're talking about them heading back to NXT and not somewhere else. But obviously, Enzo apparently pissed off it's all speculation and rumor, but apparently pissed off the entire locker room to the point it was like, we just can't have that guy around anymore. And Big Cass kind of did the same. Like, there was reports of him ripping off toilet doors. And as it turns out now, I think it's important to note this, especially if you watch other videos on the channel. Cass seemed to have he seemed to go through some mental health stuff. I think he was struggling with alcohol. I think he said that in an interview, so I think we're okay to talk about it here. And that is going to tie into how you are perceived backstage. If you're struggling and you're not admitting it, that's going to affect your mental well-being. It's going to affect your day-to-day. It's going to affect how you handle people. It's going to affect all manner of things. I just realized I haven't turned off my stupid phone thing. I'll do that now. There we go. So yeah, it's going to it's not necessarily indicative of the person that Big Cass is. I think that's what we've got to mention here. But either way, that's not the point. They still left unceremoniously from the WWE. And I remember thinking at the time, these are two dudes that may never come back, especially Enzo, who went on the offensive. I mean, he didn't hold back at all with his words. And yet here we are, a couple of weeks away from when NXT is going to debut on Wednesday nights on the USA Network. Complete change for that brand. Definitely no longer a developmental thing. And maybe they're going to come back in as a tag team. And maybe there's lots of reasons why it makes sense. Enzo and Cass were stars. They were never my guys. And I don't mean that in a stupid way. I mean that in the sense that, some guys you gravitate towards and other guys you don't. Like, you always see threads on Reddit or on Twitter, on Facebook, social media, whatever. People saying, which superstar didn't you get? And some people say Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. There are always these stars that kind of transcend. Some people are just like, well, I don't know. I don't really know if I feel the same way about these people. And Enzo and Cass were smashing it in NXT. Like, they were absolutely smashing it. They were so popular. And when they got called up to the main roster, if you go and watch that debut after WrestleMania, massive reaction. And really, they got over with the whole, the catchphrase stuff they had at the start. They were okay as a tag team, but it was them and their personalities and the dynamic between the two and everything that Enzo said. It worked. And I was always like, they're okay. But again, they were just never my guys. But you can't, that doesn't take away from the fact that they were super popular. And, one of the big things that nobody could ever believe is they never won tag team championships. It looked like that was always going to be a set-on thing. But it also backs up the tag team in general. Some people don't need titles. The Undertaker never needed a title because he was over, whenever. Right now, for example, if we want a more up-to-date one, Roman Reigns, he will get a title, but he doesn't need one. He's Roman Reigns now forever. Same with John Cena, The Rock, Steve Austin. It's better when the title is surrounded by those guys because it makes the championship feel more important. But ultimately, they're enough by themselves. And I think Enzo and Cass kind of fit into that category. Like, I remember when they had the match against the Vaudevillains and Enzo got knocked out. Like, there's so many sort of bullet points and bits in their journey, which made it more of a surprise when it did all fold in, obviously, and it kind of had a knock-on effect too. Because I guess for punishment's sake, Enzo got moved to 205 Live. He won the title. That pissed off Neville because he felt like he'd established his kind of cool brand on 205 Live, and he left, and Enzo had gone, and Big Cass was gone, and they were ragging on WWE. And now here we are, 29. Let's actually try and figure out, because I'm never going to remember the top of my head. So like, Enzo Fired WWE gives us the date of... so that's January 2018. So it's a year and a half, we'll call it. And Kaz went second, if I believe. So Kaz was released. Where are we looking? 18th. 6 months later, 18th of June. So a year and a half. And now here we sit, and they may be coming back to the company. Now, I was genuinely surprised. And it kind of makes you think, what is the plan with NXT? Clearly, they want to ramp it up with stars. And maybe they don't necessarily think that... And this is... I don't agree with this. I'm just looking at it from afar. Maybe they think the likes of Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, the Undisputed Era, Velveteen Dream. Maybe they know they're stars for the future, but they don't think they'll bring people in now. And maybe they had stats to say... Maybe when Enzo joined 205 Live, the numbers went up. So they're like, well, maybe we can do that with... And it would be a big return, right? It would get people talking, and you probably would tune in. Shout out to AJ Parker in the Super Chat, who as always mentions Nikki Crocs. I'm just going to leave that out there in the ether. You either know what it means or you don't. And I love Enzo and Cass. I was there in Dallas when they made their main roster debut. That's what we were just talking about. They will always have a soft spot in my heart. Yeah, again, you can watch on YouTube right now. People went crazy, and they thought this was one of the best things that they had seen for a long time. I find it fascinating. I mean, would they come back in with different attitudes? I think Cass would. I've seen some interviews with Cass. He seems to have mellowed. He seems to have mellowed a lot, and he seems to have got back to a good place. Enzo is Enzo, always going to be of a hotbed, a talking point, a controversial dude. I think that's just him. I think that'll be him till the day. But then, when things do happen, sometimes you do... maybe he never thought he was going to get paid. Don't forget, he pulled that incident in the Survivor Series as well, I believe it was, where he was in the crowd and got dragged out after he started doing all of his shtick. I mean, to get a welcome offer back after that, maybe the man is bulletproof. Although, he's going to look at it one of two ways. He's either going to look at it like it helped, or he's going to look at it like, let's not rock the boat anymore. Shout out to Rykan speaking in the Super Chat, who says, why are you not on What Culture Music? I nominate you as the hip-hop expert. Well, I certainly wouldn't be the hip-hop expert. They don't need me. I think they're smashing it over there on What Culture Music, and check that out right now. Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. They don't need me to bring me in. I'm not upset by that. Good luck to all those guys. I think that's about it. And again, for everyone that has just joined, thank you very much. You can ask a question. You can say whatever you want. You can make a statement. You can call me a dick just by using the Super Chat. You know how it works. Little $sign below the chat to your right. That would be correct. Yes, towards your right as you're watching it. And the real question, I think it goes to show that there was all this talk about how NXT isn't going to be changed a lot following the move to television, and it's going to be pretty much the same show. And I think that will likely be true, but we also have 2 hours. And when you've got 2 hours, and if you do watch NXT weekly television, there's a lot of squash matches, or developmental matches, I should say, you have to assume that we are going to add in bits here and there, and a team like Enzo and Cass will probably do that. I mean, we also have the Fashion Police down there now as well. Whether or not that was... whether or not that was planned or it's just a happy coincidence, we don't know. Does Apollo Crews go back there? Is that enough name power? And that's not a diss to Apollo Crews, but do we need to draft some other people in? Nick C in the super chat says, I'm not positive Enzo would be welcomed back warmly. Cass deserves another chance since he's jacked now. Yeah, he got in shape. A few pictures went around. That's the interest. Well, that ties into my point. Are they being drafted into NXT as opposed to WWE? Well, they could probably still make a splash simply because they don't want to rock that boat. Maybe the stars in NXT are going to be more happy to accept them, or maybe because Triple H is in charge. I don't know, but it's crazy. I remember that happening, thinking maybe this is the kind of people that the actions that they've taken means they'll never come back. Clearly, I was really wrong. Clearly. The Darbonator in the super chat says, Simon Miller is on episode number 205, ... live, thinking face. I weigh a lot more than 205 pounds. In fact, I'll tell you how much I weigh. I never do it in pounds because over here in stupid Britain, we do everything in stone. I weigh in pounds 231 pounds. So I'd have to slim down a lot. Don't want to do that. I got no interest. Jacob Donnelly in the super chat says, no denying Enzo and Cass get a great crowd reaction. Just look at Enzo crashing the crowd at Survivor Series, lol. Yeah, I had to do that. I thought that was a bit silly at the time. But hey, if it brings you back to the promised land, who am I to make a comment on that? So we will see what happens. How long have we got? Let's get an exact figure of when... It's literally... So we go back to yesterday, 3 weeks. 3 weeks until NXT debuts on the USA Network. Sounds like things are in progress. Who knows what others... Maybe they're going to sign a crazy star you never even thought. Maybe you're going to have a Lex Luger moment. No, not necessarily a Lex Luger moment. I'm not saying they're going to steal anyone from AEW. But maybe someone who's a free agent right now that you never thought would debut on WWE surprises us all and debuts on NXT. It kind of changes everything when you're on television. You know, when you're not just on the WWE Network, you can argue it's another Raw, it's another SmackDown. You're on the same network they're on right now. It's just Wednesday nights. And as we're all well aware, come October 2019, we're going to know how big a night Wednesdays can be for pro wrestling. But yeah, Enzo and Cass could be on it. Maybe they come into feud with the Undisputed Era. What do you think about that? They just want the tag titles. You want to see it? It could happen. Interestingly enough, talking about the changes in October, WWE have also discussed doing another draft. Not like a big one, but maybe shifting a few people around to cement some things up. And then from what I read, again, this is a Wrestling Observer newsletter story, it sounded like from then that would be quite tight for a long time. So you would have your SmackDown roster and your Raw roster. And I presume you'd have to, wouldn't you, if you're going to be on different brands? I'm not sure how cool Fox or USA would be. Let's say Roman Reigns, just because he's the biggest star. But if you've got Roman Reigns and there's talk of doing a draft, it works on multiple levels. A, you don't want to lose Roman Reigns, but also you don't want to be advertising the competitor by doing this dual brand thing. We have to watch both shows. So yeah, I guess you got to do it before you move. Try and shore up your rosters. I don't think that'd be a bad problem because I think following the wild card rule, who even knows? The amount of times someone will pop up on Raw or SmackDown and I got to go look on WWE.com to see what exactly brand they're supposed to be on is ridiculous. So that's going to be interesting as well. I think they probably should do that. I think that just makes sense. You know, you've messed it up with the wild card stuff, so we absolutely should try and rein it back in. It depends. If we're not going to do a yearly draft anymore because of these TV things, then it's okay. Because ultimately, even though you'll be well within your right to say we've run this idea into the ground, it's not so bad because you're not going to see it for ages. So it would balance out. There was another story that I wanted to talk about, and I've lost it because this computer is not my friend. Well, the other thing I guess is that Bray Wyatt may be going for the world title. That was the rumor. I will say keep an eye on WWE. Keep an eye on What Culture Wrestling for a video that I'm going to be doing about that soon. It should be up tomorrow, I would imagine. But yeah, some materials came out that the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, you know, proper sort of promotional materials, that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Oh, The Fiend, I should say, at the October show. I presume it would be in a Hell in a Cell. And it instantly split opinion. Again, this is what I talk about in the video. But is that a good thing in the sense that maybe The Fiend could win the Universal Championship? Or is it a bad thing because we're rushing it? We're not letting that character breathe. We're not letting that character develop. We're not letting that character evolve. I actually kind of lean towards the former, you know. I think even though The Fiend is a brand new character, we still know that I think that one of the reasons we enjoy it so much is that we know it was born out of this utter disaster that was the Bray Wyatt version 1. Again, great for a while, then bad booking pulled it down. So whatever we have to do to establish him, to let everybody know, no, don't worry about that guy. This is a main event talent. This is a top tier talent. This is a champion type talent. I'm not against that as long as he's booked well. So, for example, if he comes into Hell in a Cell and he beats Seth Rollins clean and you let him have that title, I know you're going to sound stupid, but you let him have that title for a year and it's a great reign and no one can defeat him and he beats the likes of Cesaro, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, and nobody can take the belt off him, you're going to take him as he will be a top guy. He will be a Roman Reigns. He will be a Seth Rollins. He will be a Brock Lesnar. And then, because you have established this so soon, it doesn't matter if you make a few mistakes, which can happen. It's happened in WWE before. It can happen again. It doesn't matter if you make those mistakes because you've already told us, but we're not mucking around with him. You know, Roman Reigns has been involved in a lot of crap. Sometimes Roman Reigns loses, but it doesn't affect his status. He's Roman Reigns. He's the big dog. And that's why I don't necessarily hate the fact or hate the idea of Bray Wyatt beating Seth Rollins. I just can't have any shenanigans. I can't have any shenanigans. It can't be a DQ. It can't be a count out. It can't be, he beat him up too much and therefore we DQ'd Seth, we DQ'd him. Can't have anything like that. Bray has to beat Seth Rollins. And the counterpoint to that is, but that crap's over Seth Rollins. Well, what's your goal? Like that's what I always say. What's your goal right now? Are we trying to get Seth Rollins over? Or are we trying to get Bray Wyatt over? And I know that WWE likes to try and balance that out. But sometimes I think it's just better to ignore that and say, well, Seth is fine. Seth is going to be fine, right? He just lost his title and he won it back. Bray, we feel we need to set a fire under him because he's the best thing we've got right now, which is true. So let's go all in. Let's go all in with Bray Wyatt. Put the championship on him. Let him beat Seth Rollins. Let him run through everybody. I'm not 100% against it. So shout out in the super chat, hand on the heart to Michael Kennedy, who just says hello. Hello, Michael Kennedy. Appreciate that. Chris Jukes, also in the super chat, says, been resting at Hustle for a few weeks. Any tips? Well, Charlie, I'll seal you down there because I go to Hustle. I haven't been there for a while because I've been having matches. I say this to everyone. It's crap, but just enjoy it. There's nothing I can say that's going to turn you into a better wrestler, but I can hopefully allow you to have more fun with it by just saying enjoy it. You may want to be WWE champ. Doesn't mean you can't take it seriously, but it's meant to be fun. If it's not fun, why are you doing it anyway, right? You don't want to put yourself through hell. Jay DeVries in the super chat just threw some money in there. Much appreciated, Jay. That's very kind of you. And Derpaherp, which is an incredible name. So shout out to Derpaherp in the super chat. Says, congrats on your title win, bro. Well deserved. Man, I should have grabbed it, but it's over there. I don't want to ruin the stream. That's right. You can check it out on the YouTube channel right now. Just go to the homepage. You've got a highlight package of the finish where I beat Adam Mayhem for Pro Wrestling Society in South Korea, of all places, to win the H Championship, or you can watch the whole match. Some people wanted it, so I gave you both. You can pick the whole thing. So thank you, Derpaherp. I appreciate that. And yeah, I have a little vlog of my South African voyage will be going up either today or tomorrow. I'm having a bit of problems with it in the edit at the moment. You'll have to forgive me, but you can keep an eye out for that as well. And again, just a quick reminder, because a few people have joined. If you have a question, if you disagree with me, if you agree with me, if you want to take the conversation in a brand new direction, use the super chat. Smash that $sign beneath the chat, and we can do it. We'll talk about whatever the hell you want. Jacob Donnelly in the super chat says, Bray Wyatt having the title not showing up every week would be perfect. Imagine people really want the title, but oh no, the Fiend has it. And isn't that just a great point? Shout out to Jacob. Context is king. Brock Lesnar did that and everybody got pissed off because the story was, he's holding up the belt. When Bray Wyatt does it, you kind of go the other way. I mean, you have to. It's all about that balance. If he's away too long, people will hate it, which is true. You need the title, but not knowing when he's going to show up, which is working right now, would be a cool little thing. I don't even mind going whole hog and having people being a little bit trepidatious about challenging for that belt because you don't know what you're going to get with Bray Wyatt. I think that is awesome. I think that's an awesome thing to try and because it's different. And we've been asking for something different for years. And the cool thing about the Fiend character is that it does present us these opportunities simply because of the way that he is. What is he? We don't even know what he is right now. I think the person that made the mask, I can't remember his name now, he has said there's more to come with this. We haven't got the full package so far. There's more ideas, there's more creativity, which is good, which is exciting. I don't mind people trying something new, even if it fails, because at least you gave it a go. And I think we need to treat the Fiend as that through and through. Like it has to be that through and through. And we stick in for the long haul. And when we give him the Universal title, he cannot lose it for a long time. If he wins it in October, the earliest he should lose it is WrestleMania 36. And I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind if he held it to WrestleMania 37. And people go, WWE shouldn't do that. Well, no. They wouldn't do that, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't do that. There is a big difference, and I think we need something different. We want something different. People are asking for something different. I just think that's the way to go about it. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see it happen. Shout out to RBJ Bone Farm in the super chat, which again is an incredible name, who said, "You made me start watching wrestling again." Well, a few people say that to me, RBJ, and every time they do, it makes my eye go a little bit crazy like that, because that's just a lovely thing to say. To think that I had anything to do with you getting back involved is tremendous. And there's your little Stone Cold gif. Finally just came up after the slight delay. I love that little Stone Cold gif. There's a reason. It's the cheapest plug ever. But there's a reason to throw some money in the super chat. You get a little Stone Cold gif of him drinking. Some people think it's me, so I'm just going to say it's me. It's quite not. It's just not me. It's not me. Shout out to Sean Gilhorn, my man, always supporting in the super chat, who says, Bray attacks Seth right after Seth beats Braun. Build for Bray Seth in Hell in a Cell. Why the hell not, right? Why the hell not? Then you put over Seth Rollins, super huge. He's beat Braun Strowman, who is kind of surplus to requirements at this point anyway. And then, and then Bray Wyatt appears. Can you imagine the reaction? And can you imagine how excited you're going to be tuning in for Raw? I get the argument that it's too fast, too much, and WWE has a history for that. You know, did it with Apollo Crews. He was called up too soon from NXT. And there's a bunch of guys. And sometimes we do have stories that don't build. Braun Strowman versus Seth. We could have done more with this. But if that's the direction we're going, let's just do it. Shout out to 619 Wisey in the super chat. Just threw some cash in there. I appreciate it. My man AJ Parker is back in the super chat, who says, Simon, here's a twist. I'm excited, AJ. I'm excited already. What if The Fiend wins the title but never touches it? Instead, Funhouse Bray can carry the title. Bray could also invoke the Freebird rule when defending it. Well, you created such a crazy paradox there. I don't even know how WWE would pull it off. But fair play to you, AJ. I think he can touch the belt. I think that's okay. I think I do agree that there should be a way that he holds it that's different to everybody else. I think everything Bray Wyatt does should be completely different to everybody else on the roster. I think that's how we keep the magic alive. That's how we keep the intrigue alive. And that's why if you want to double down on him, you can. So the freeboard rule when he's defending it. I don't think we need to see Firefly Fun Bray do anything in the ring. I worry they will do that, but I don't think it will. It won't do him any favors, and I imagine it will piss more people off than not. And I think we should probably stay away from that. I think we need to think smartly, think carefully, and ensure that Bray Wyatt has all the creative shout in the world. Nucked Bogan, amazing name in the super chat. I feel like you deserve a Universal title shot since you have won 2 matches against Seth. Only seems fair he didn't show up to your challenges. No, he didn't, did he? Twice I challenged him. That was such a shame. I thought when he cut that promo, it was going to be a big thing that he was going to go around challenging everyone, which is why I thought, I'll jump on this. And he did it for a week and he never did it again. I mean, we got a couple of weeks of laughter out of it. So that was good. But yeah, it was kind of a shame. I was like, oh well, never mind. That's that done. I don't necessarily think it's bad if Seth Rollins loses that championship either. I know he just won it and lost it, but it all depends. Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in 12 months? What do you want Bray Wyatt to be? If you want him to be a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins, a Brock Lesnar, anybody like that who can carry a certain amount of weight with them and can be a pillar for your company, you have to get him there. He can only do so much. And if this is the way we're going to do it, then we should jump in with both feet. So I hope that they do. And yeah, no DQs. Oh, if the Fiend ever gets DQ'd, I'm going to rip off my own nose. Right, we'll talk about SmackDown for a little bit because we haven't talked about that on this week's show. It was a difficult. It wasn't. It was a good show. Like it was. There's nothing wrong with it. It was an average show. It was one of those shows from an ups and downs point of view. And again, head over to What Culture Wrestling, subscribe and watch that. But it was one of those shows where it's like it got all these ups and no downs. But they weren't like amazing ups. They weren't like, oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was just like, well, I wouldn't give it a down because it's fine. But by the end of it, I didn't really feel like it had lit the world on fire. I know some people didn't like the end segment with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I like the fact that, again, we talked about it earlier. I like the fact that they're trying. I like the fact that it's different. I like the fact that there's a cliffhanger. This is the first time there was some confusion with the story because you saw that Rowan in the footage, the grainy footage, but it was so grainy that Daniel Bryan as a heel could ultimately go, well, that's not Rowan, that's the guy we showed you last week. And yet all of a sudden the guy from last week has gone. I worry because there was a bit of ridicule about that WWE thought, oh, we should just drop it. I hate that. Even if everybody craps over it, if you've got an idea, see it through to the finish because it may actually get good by then. We don't know until we try. So that was kind of a shame, but we'll see. I mean, Daniel Bryan hasn't turned on Eric Rowan, but he certainly created somewhat of a rift there, even if it's a fake rift. and Roman Reigns speared Daniel Bryan. I'm all good with Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Clash of Champions. Like, I really, really am. That would be a great match. Shout out to Juan Ortiz in a super chat who says, going back to The Fiend, I like the idea of The Fiend as Universal Champion. Sounds good, but it's all in the execution since I don't want it to be rushed. Also, Repo Man for the win. You're damn right. Honestly, man, I think it's one of those amazing arguments that you can really take both sides and it makes perfect sense. You make him Universal Champion and you push him the right way. He's made. If you rush it and it feels like he could have gone through some other people first, or there's not enough characterization, or the story doesn't make sense, or you can tell it's a bit of a let's push him down people's throats mentality, then yeah, that will translate across to the fans, and then they won't enjoy it as much as they should. You're 100% right. The execution is so... I mean, look at Bray Wyatt in general, right? Before he fought Finn Balor at SummerSlam, we were more intrigued about the production. What's he going to come out to? What's the lights going to be like? What's his entrance? And it will be the same with that. He's got to win in a really, really cool way. And look, if he does win, and he has a mini program with Seth Rollins, and he comes at the end and he fights someone like, I don't know, Braun Strowman, which doesn't make any sense, but he could do that. There's history there. There's a story you can tell. And if The Fiend then absolutely decimates Braun Strowman, I think we're on our way. And I think even if we screw up, it doesn't matter because we will have cemented the fact. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, going back to SmackDown, I like the cliffhanger stuff. This story's it's tumbled a little bit, but it's fine. I loved Ali versus Buddy Murphy. I thought Randy Orton versus Samoa Joe was good for what it was. Not Randy Orton versus Samoa Joe. Who the hell did Randy Orton fight? Big E. Sorry, Big E. I know what I'm talking about. I liked all that stuff. I thought it was good. Bayley versus Lacey Evans was a bit strange because Lacey Evans just came out from nowhere. I said this on Ups and Downs. If you've only been watching WWE TV since the start of August, you'd be like, who's this Southern woman? I think you're trash. It's like, yeah, but who are you? I don't know who you are, so that was a bit strange. But like, ultimately, very easy to watch show where nothing much happened. I think what's happened is we've fallen into that lull between pay-per-views where they realise they've still got, I'll tell you how long they've got to go. They realise they've still got like 2 weeks. It's the 15th, isn't it? So yeah, 2 weeks Sunday, and they have absolutely no idea. They probably have ideas they don't want to execute too quickly because otherwise they'll shoot their load, pardon my expression, and then they'll have nowhere to go, and you don't want to do that. So a quiet week for WWE, which may even tie into the fact they know this weekend they're not going to be being talked about at all. Like, they're just not going to be being talked about at all. All Out is going to be massive. New Japan World Quest is going to be massive. I'm sure that NXT UK is going to create some buzz as well. But WWE is just not going to be on anybody's radar. I'm just making sure that nothing else is broken since we started the podcast. Now I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, this is their take a step back week, and they'll observe. They'll kind of see what's going to go down. All Out to me looks pretty exciting on paper. There does feel like there's less buzz for this than All In, but I think that's the law of diminishing returns. My favorite catchphrase. All In was such a pivotal event, and then Double or Nothing was the follow up. Now we're on the third one, that difficult third album. I still think they're going to smash it. I think Chris Jericho should absolutely become the world champion because I think that would get more people watching. No disrespect to Hangman Page, but people know who Chris Jericho is. Quick shout out to AB Winchester, who just subscribed. You can see it right there. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. But yeah, people don't know who Hangman Page is by and large. But if you're a lapsed wrestling fan, you know who Chris Jericho is. And you may be like, oh man, I absolutely want to tune into this new promotion. Because you may not even know, you may just watch WWE every now and then and go, where did Chris Jericho go? And if somehow it filters through to you that he's the champion in a brand new promotion, you may be like, shit, well, I've got to go and watch that. So I definitely think that's the way to do it. Shout out to my man, Sean Gilhorn, in the super chat, who says, I can totally see Funhouse Bray in the ring lose a close match and have The Fiend come next week and completely destroy the opponent. A feud has started. I like the idea. I really, really do. But I think that will take something away. I don't want to see him lose until the end of next year minimum. In fact, I want him to win the championship and not lose for a year. I just think it should be... it's a clever idea, right? It's a really, really clever idea, but I think we should just screw being clever, and I think we should just stick to the basics. So I always mention this. Everyone says nowadays, well, you can't just have someone come in and Goldberg everyone. Why can't you? Goldberg got over because he came in and Goldberg people. That's why people loved him so much. They were like, holy shit, this guy is just mauling people, and I want to see it some more. And nobody else could have done that but Goldberg. But so my point being is, if somebody comes to you where you think that you can book them like that and they'll get over, book them like that and they'll get over. Because that's what you should want from all your talent. Get everybody over. The more over people are, the more people are going to watch, the more merchandise you're going to sell, the more pay-per-views you're going to buy, the more network subscriptions, and so on and so forth. Jacob Donnelly in the Super Chat says, do you think Bayley feels a bit lost at the moment? A bit of a shame she's getting almost no crowd reaction now. The whole women's division on SmackDown feels strange. Like, we had Bayley versus Lacey Evans, which was a good match. I enjoyed it. But Charlotte's at ringside because it's a Clash of Champions. We're getting Charlotte Bayley. But there's no real story there. Charlotte doesn't get involved. Like I say, Lacey's come out of nowhere. Quick shout out to Stick One, who's just subscribed to the channel. It feels just a little bit... You're right, it does feel lackluster. It feels aimless and like there's no direction. It's without direction at the moment. And you could probably say that was kind of true on Raw before this Sasha Banks-Becky Lynch program got going. But even then, it's kind of the same situation. Two people feuding, random third person. So Charlotte Bayley, Lacey, and then on Raw, Sasha, Becky, Natty. And they kind of revolve around. And you start asking the questions, where's Sonya Deville gone? Where's Mandy Rose? Where's Naomi? Where's Dana Brooke? I know some people like her. Alexa Bliss wasn't on TV, but at least she's a tag champion. Where's the Iconics gone? So they probably could be utilizing it better. I do feel like the last couple of weeks, though, that yes, that's a thing. Sand Dogman says, hey, Simon, been really struggling with work recently. You've been an absolute rock, and I don't think I would have got through it without you. Hand on heart, Kieran. Well, Kieran, that is a lovely thing to throw in there. First and foremost, thank you. That's very humbling, as I always say, but it's true. I hope the work is okay. Remember that we all struggle with work, and it's all right to struggle with work. Like, work's a crazy thing, because even the word work... the phrase is nobody wants to go to work, but we have to go to work. Work takes up the majority of our life. And that sucks is, we take our work home with us, especially when it's bad. So I completely understand that. But if I've been able to help at all and my videos have translated in any sense, then Kieran, my friend, you are very, very welcome. And I hope you're on the way up, haha, and your down is over, haha. And that, it's just good. It's just good times coming. But even if you're not and you're still at the bottom a little bit, it's okay. It's cool. There's lots to be learnt down there. And it's even better because when you do climb back up, you're feeling good again. So, make sure you focus on that. But, very good point about the women's division. I would say that is true. Enzo is now on Instagram just doing what you would expect Enzo to do. I think it's going to happen. I don't think there's much... I think there's too much speculation. So I would say that Enzo and Cass are coming back to WWE. I mean, that's not a crazy prediction from me, from all the stuff that I've already seen. But boy, howdy, am I intrigued. We will predict the All Out show as well, so don't worry about that. We'll get to that on another episode that I'll drop hopefully over the weekend. Right, I want to run to about 6 o'clock. So again, if you've got a question you want to ask or anything you want to say, drop me something in the super chat. Doesn't matter how much, it's all good, and we can start focusing on that. But ultimately, I also want to use this platform to tell you about pinsandknuckles.com. You can check out, or pinsandknucklesmerch.com. If you head over there right now, you can find an exclusive Simon Miller t-shirt, the one that's just got Y, like my gear written across, and you can buy that. And also, if you've got any merchandise needs, they'll hook you up. So make sure you absolutely do that too. But also, last night, 24 hours ago, right now I was in the building. I was in Canterbury, Kent, wrestling for IPW UK. Now, I'm sure if you're like an indie wrestling fan, you'll know about IPW. They've been around for ages. So for them to reach out to me and offer me a match was damn cool. It meant a lot to me. And to be able to do it 3 days after I was in South Korea, winning the H Championship, that was pretty special. I don't know whether you'll be able to... I'll show you in a minute to see if you can see. So I fought Rob Lynch, who is their champion. You would have seen him around the place. He wrestles in Progress and countless other places. Like, you will have seen him. And we just had this absolute... A friend of mine came to see it, and he was like, Miller, you were hitting each other so hard, the ring moved. Which I'll always take. I'll try and show you. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it. But this is what happens in wrestling when somebody chops you. Now, a chop sucks. There's no point pretending otherwise. It hurts. You can sell it because it hurts, so there's nothing going around, but it makes a great noise, and you know the deal. I don't need to explain chops to you, but shout out to Mark at IPW, shout out to Rob Lynch at IPW, shout out to everyone that came down and supported me. It was flipping brilliant. Oh, you can see the bruise. There you go. It looks worse on camera, but that's fine. I'll take it. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, it's been an absolutely awesome weekend, awesome week for wrestling. I really feel like I got some incredible experience. I lost as well because I got hit with a spear out of midair. That hurts. I was like, oh my gosh, the absolute nightmare. But yeah, everyone likes these little updates, so I like to give them to you, and it's just been awesome. I feel like I'm still early days, still green as grass. Still need to walk through these things. I'm not pretending otherwise, but my experience is my confidence, I should say. I'm feeling my confidence growing because I can get through this. I can get through this stuff. And then Sunday as well, if you're in the London area, the Bedford at Balham, I'll be fighting for the EWE. So you can check me out there as well. Sean Gearhorn, back in the Super Chat, says, if they tie in Bayley's social media and WWE's exclusive stuff, then Lacey kind of makes sense, a way to potentially build SmackDown Women's Division. Well, that is true. You're right. Outside of the what we watch on Mondays and Tuesdays, you're 100% right, Sean. You'd know who Lacey Evans are. So that's true. We do live in a 2019 world. So I will acquiesce to you on that one. I like Lacey Evans. I like Lacey Evans because she's a character-driven performer. I was really taken by her when she was doing those signings, and she calls people scum and garbage and honey, don't touch me. I love people that do that. I think that's a lost art in pro wrestling. And I do think she gets a harsh rap. I just think she probably shouldn't have been in the card where she was. That's what annoys people. It ties back into the Bray Wyatt thing, right? You give some people you give someone too much too soon and the fans revolt. That's just what they do. But I like her, and there's enough talent in that women's division to make something out of it. I just think maybe we're focusing on similar pairings, and that takes away some of the allure. Sunny Horizons in the Super Chat says, who would you have in Survivor Series teams, WWE versus AEW? Sunny. I love that question. I would go, and I'm thinking from marketing perspective, I would go Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor and Braun Strowman, because you've got to get your WWE guys in there, versus Cody, the Bucks, Kenny Omega, and let's face it, Chris Jericho, because it just blow your mind. You'd be like, it's WWE versus AEW, but a guy that I still affiliate with WWE is on the AEW side. That would do gangbusters, although it wouldn't, of course, because that's basically an invasion angle, and we all know what happened in 2001 when WWE had the invasion angle. There's probably some people watching this right now that don't know what happened. My advice to you would be, don't watch any of it. don't watch any of it. Shout out to Jacob Donnelly says, I hope when Shane McMahon is finally off TV, whenever that will happen, The Fiend is the last person to attack him as a good send-off. Well, that kind of depends on what they want to do, right? Because that makes The Fiend a face. And is he a face? Is he a heel? At the moment, I guess you'd say he's a bad guy because he attacks Finn Balor, he attacks Mankind or Mick Foley, he attacks Jerry Lawler, attacks Kurt Angle. You know, these are people that we associate as good guys. But maybe we can kind of blur the lines with that. Like, I think the really cool thing about All Elite Wrestling is that they're not going to tread those lines. Apparently, they're going to be far more fluid. And like, so if you saw the Cody Rhodes interview on the last All Out video, he was kind of a face, he was kind of a heel. Same with Kenny Omega. Again, there's this interesting coming together of everything. So, hopefully that comes together. I like the idea of having proper shades of grey, and I kind of choose who I like. You're always going to have to control it a little bit because you want to be able to tell good stories, but it's working for AEW right now. I don't see why it can't continue. A lot of people are saying they don't feel the buzz for All Out this weekend. I mean, I don't know. I'm sat here in England, and social media is always buzzing about something. I think the Jon Moxley thing took a bit of excitement away from it, I suppose. Like, he can't do StarCast either because of his MRSA, which sucks. He can't travel, and that is going to disappoint people. I mean, there's no better replacement than Pac, but I get it. There's no story. It's last minute. But look, CM Punk posted that video. I'm sure you saw of him back in the ring, quote unquote, just advertising his StarCast 3 appearance. Maybe he'll be at the pay-per-view. And even if you want to call it a pay-per-view that when all is said and done, you go, okay, it was all right. If he's there, it will blow up after the fact. All Elite will blow up in general. Don't overestimate the power of that CM Punk fan base. It's still massive. People still love him. Again, I just want to make clear, I think he should do whatever the hell he wants to do. If he comes back to pro wrestling, great. I'll enjoy him. If he decides not to come to pro wrestling, great. I've got good memories with Punk. But it would, the fallout from it would be incredible because most people do want him to come back. And to do it in a company that's not WWE, given his feelings towards them, it'd be really cool, right? It'd be really, really cool. Some people don't want to see it at all. Some people don't want to see it at all. They've got no interest in CM Punk. It's weird. He can be a very divisive figure. I just respect him for everything that he's done. I don't know what he's like as a person, but I appreciate that he goes after his dreams, and that's something that I try and do as well. So somebody who has successfully done it is smashing it. I like to think that maybe I can smash it as well, but we don't know. Again, we had 2 successful matches this week. Another match on Sunday. What have I got next week? I don't even know. I don't even know where I am next week because I'm crazy. Oh my gosh, it's my EWA match next week. Oh, I'm nervous about that. I'm fighting Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm's been going for ages. He's like really, really good. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting one. Right, we'll do 5 more minutes. If you've got any kind of question, any kind of statement, you want me to do something, or I don't know, whatever, make sure you drop me a line in the super chat, and we can answer that and make sure we do it. But otherwise, yeah, it's just all the housekeeping stuff. Come give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. It's crazy. I don't want to get into. This isn't me like tooting my own horn. This is genuinely me being taken aback and surprised. It's actually someone else mentioned it to me because I try not to keep an eye on those things. So I think it'd be detrimental. Somehow went over 80,000 followers on Twitter, which is nuts. That is nuts. That is a ridiculous figure. I know it's small fry in the grand scheme of things, but for me, a bald dude right now sitting here in England just talking a bunch of nonsense, that was crazy. So thank you for everyone supporting me there. Same with Instagram. I've tried to focus more on that recently, and that's gone up too. So yeah, I give you a bow. A bow to everyone that's done that. I appreciate your click. I really, really do. Talking about that, I just saw someone mentioning bald stuff in the comments. Did you know? I learned this when I was in South Korea. The South Koreans think that if you're bald, you're a bit of that something's wrong with you. That they'll call you a name or a saying that they have is if someone's bald, they're a sinner. I mean, I don't know what that means. I suppose they think you've done something bad in your life, so your hair just fell out. I mean, it's just my dad's fault, and it's not his fault because it's his granddad's fault, and it's not his fault because it just keeps going on. But I thought, look, if I ever get booked constantly in South Korea, probably not something's going to happen, but always believe, always dream big. I'll be the bald sinner, Simon Miller. A nice ring to it, right? Sounds pretty cool somehow, even though it's ridiculous. South Koreans will get into it because they'll be like, oh my gosh, he's bald and he's telling us he's bald. We're not like this guy. And I think there's something in that. So yeah, write it down now. 29th of August at almost 6 p.m., Miller admits he may go heel in South Korea and be the bald sinner. I think it sounds cool. Also, don't think it's been done before. Don't think a bald guy's been running around going, yeah, I'm going to sin this, I'm going to sin that. I'll do it. Still waiting for someone to turn me heel. I think someone's going to do it soon. And I can't wait to get the footage of that. We'll see. AJ Parker says, would love to see Simon Says on here at some point. I mean, it may happen. I don't know how I'd work that in. But, hey, man, you never know what the future holds, right? I love a shout out to Phil as well for that new Ups and Downs intro. And, of course, make sure you check out Kayfabe News, brand new YouTube channel that we're smashing right now. I'm sure you've read the website, Kayfabe News. It's the YouTube version of that. I like it. I think it's funny. I'm a big fan. So make sure you check that as well. Right, I've got a couple of more questions if you've got time. Otherwise, we will start to wrap things up. I don't think we'll do any more 5 p.m. podcasts or live shows. Not that many people watch 5 p.m. BST. I still appreciate you watching. I'm just saying I'm trying to find the right time for when works, but we will figure it out. Send me a tweet at Simon316 if there is a specific time that works for you. I'm still trying to find that sweet spot. I'm starting to think the 1 p.m. BST is the sweet spot at the moment. That's what does best. Who knew? But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching me. As always, thank you for the support, be it on here in the super chat, just watching, Patrons. You follow me on Twitter, you follow me on Instagram at Simon316, whatever. It's all good. And I have merch as well, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. The merch orders are going out tomorrow, the ones that were ordered in the last couple of weeks. So make sure you get your, or you don't have to, but if you want to, I'll make sure I send it out tomorrow with the rest of them. Some people ask about new Ups and Downs intro yesterday on SmackDown. Go and watch it. Phil put it together. It's absolutely ludicrous, but it made me chuckle. And that's the man. Someone else mentions the Slipknot UK tour. I've seen it. I don't know if I'm going to go to the Slipknot UK tour because the way I look at it is I'll throw myself into the pit because that's what I do, and I'll get injured and then I'll be able to wrestle. Because let's face it, that's exactly what would happen to Simon Miller. So I may take a step back this time. I've seen him before. I don't mind. The only concert I want to go to this year is S&M 2, but that's happening in San Francisco in like 2 months. Oh my gosh! But I won't be doing that. A last shout out to Crouton in the super chat. It just says Simon. Well, I appreciate it. Every time I say an egg crouton, I think of the croutons that you put in your soup and stuff. That's good eating. Look, it's 6 p.m. Go have lovely evenings. Thank you so much for joining me for this random episode, but I said I wanted to get a second one out, and this is the only time I could fit it in. Again, if you can support me on patreon.com for the Simon316, you can. Loads of stuff on there, like $10, I'll send you a postcard. $20, I'll send you a personalized message. You can come on the podcast. There's t-shirts, all those kind of stuff. You can click the description below. But in the meantime, yeah, go out there, have lovely evenings. Thanks very much for joining me. May try and smash another one of these tomorrow if possible. But just have lovely times. It may not be the evening when you are as well, and therefore embrace the day, embrace the morning, embrace the afternoon. Just embrace life.